Good morning, everyone. Brian Newbert here from goldenblack.com, here with our goldenblack.com Saturday simulcast following Purdue's 35 to nothing loss to Oregon. Thank you to the Purdue Club Hotel for your support. As always, we appreciate it very much. Again, this is our post-game conversation, our Saturday simulcast, where we just try to come up with interesting and compelling topics to discuss after Purdue football games. So, in light of another blowout loss, Tom, since you took the Euro question, I'm going to go to Carmen. Mike, is it unprofessional, if not outright fraudulent, for us to call this a Saturday simulcast when it is clearly Sunday, it being 12:49 a.m.?
Well, it's actually Saturday morning.
Saturday morning.
You thought they played football Saturday afternoon.
Noob needs to go to bed, I think.
Yes,
right.
I need to go to bed.
It's not out of line to call this a Saturday simulcast.
Actually,
to get to
hit
the
it
heart
right on the screws. I just screwed it up. Okay, Tom, I'll go to you. Could we have a more incompetent host here?
We know what you were trying to do, Brian. We understand. No, yeah, it's always good having you guys along. And boy, I don't know if I can add too much to 35 to nothing, guys. Sort of went according to script. I was kind of joking with some colleagues on ranking the Purdue losses this year. Where would this one rank? And I guess probably not as high as you think. Yeah, I think we've got Wisconsin, Notre Dame, Oregon State, then probably this one, maybe 4 on our list. So I guess that shows you the state of the season when we're ranking how bad the losses are. So I guess, again, it kind of went according to script in my book, right? The offense showed some life, 300 yards, but didn't get in the end zone and was largely sluggish, could not pass the football. Again, a lot of credit to who you're playing, right? Oregon's a good team, but still just a tough night. And another night, guys, where the crowd was great and was not rewarded with a win. But I guess for the most part, Purdue was as competitive as it's been in some of these games this year, right?
Has Purdue conceded the passing game? Let me explain. Hear me out. So you've changed your offense to this running-oriented offense built for Ryan Brown, but it is an offense that you run when you have a great defense. You're possessing the ball. You're trying to grind out not only yards, but minutes of possession time. You're trying to keep your defense on the field. Purdue is running an offense for a great defense when it has a bad defense. So you're coming out here, you're establishing the running game, which is great. Everybody wants established a run, right? But by the time you get to a place where you've got Oregon, responding to it, and you could maybe take some shots, make some big plays, it's 21 to nothing. So, and the game is essentially over. So I'm curious moving forward to see if Purdue can actually try to drop back and throw the football and make some big plays down the field, make any big plays whatsoever. And that's just, we can concentrate on, the offense doesn't score, but even if the offense was scoring, and I'm saying this after they did what they did in the second half at Illinois, so understand that. But the defense is just not good enough, clearly. Mike, what's the bigger issue here? Not being able to score on offense or not being able to stop anybody?
Both.
You can't say both. That's a cop-out.
Well, but it's true. I mean, you're talking degrees of...
I understand it's true, but I'm putting you on the spot.
Well, that was my spot answer. I did. But I'll say this, and not knowing exactly what Ryan Walters' plan was for this, because, he is now the play caller, or has been the last 2 games. I mean, it appeared tonight that they were trying to shorten the game. They were trying to run the ball, trying to keep the ball out of Oregon's hands, to not let that dynamic offense get on the field and hopefully get a big play on offense to stay in this game. But they played somewhat conservatively in that aspect, but it was working. What screwed them up tonight were the negative plays. When they had one negative play, it killed the whole drive.
Yeah.
Or if they had a false start, I don't know how many times this year they've come out of a timeout, a TV timeout, which are 3 minutes long, and had a delay of game penalty or a false start. I mean, coming out of a timeout. So they continue to beat themselves a lot and put themselves in bad situations. But tonight, I think the first three drives, they had a negative play, and then after that, the drive was over. I mean, it ended. They couldn't recover from that, and that's something that was a problem earlier in the year. You felt like they fixed it a little bit against Illinois when you're down by 24 points, that you're able to handle the adversity. But tonight, it didn't seem like they could handle anything adverse, and they just kind of went away. But so I'm curious, next time they play, are we going to see the same thing from an offensive game plan standpoint of run, try to shorten the game, or will it be a little bit more like Illinois? Granted, you were down 24, so you had to do something to make some big plays, but will there be a better mix and balance there? But also, I think Oregon had tape on Brown when Illinois didn't, and they seemed really prepared for what Brown was going to do. And when he tried to keep it on his own read, there was someone right in his face, and they didn't give him time to throw when he wanted to throw. I mean, they didn't attempt a pass in the first quarter, even though I think there were some passes called, but they didn't attempt a pass.
Yeah.
So I just feel like they were trying to shorten the game, not let it get completely out of hand early. It's 21-0, which was kind of out of hand, but not completely. But I'm curious next time they play if this is the same plan or will it be something different.
In fairness, they did try to take a shot down the field on that flea flicker. I forgot about that. I think he got sacked, didn't he? So they did.
No, he picked up some yardage.
Did he? Okay. There was a sack too on a drop back that. So they called at least a couple of shots down the field, but I just don't know if you can win this way. I think you have to figure out a way to put up, not only score at all, but score a lot, because your defense isn't going to let you give you any wiggle room. Tom, before I ask you if you're tweeting during our live show, which my phone says you are, I need your full and undivided attention here. What is going on with this offensive line? It seems like Purdue's default start is 1st and 15. And you have no margin for error in that regard. You can't put yourself behind the sticks, especially with this offense. Is this a discipline issue? Is this a coaching issue? What's with all the false starts?
I think it has to be a little bit of both, Brian. And the coaches are emphasizing this. And I know that what drives them really crazy are the dead ball penalties. I think they can sometimes live with the live action penalties when you're in the heat of the moment, and maybe you commit a hold or grab a face mask or something. But it's these false starts, guys. And I just pulled up the stats tonight. Offensive penalties 5, and 4 of them were false starts, and there was 1 personal foul. And then the defense had an offsides penalty, so that's sort of another dead ball. So yeah, you're right. I can't tell you exactly what's going on, Brian, but typically when you're jumping offsides, it's just usually a lack of concentration and focus. They always say, right? And to be this deep into the season and have this veteran of an offensive line, guys like Marcus Bowe and Musa committing these penalties. Gus Hartwick had one too. So just a disappointment. I think it has to be for the staff and the players. And again, I think it has to be a mixture of both. But I think it probably falls on the players. These guys are veterans. This is the veteran offensive line. They shouldn't be jumping off sides, especially coming out of timeouts, like Mike pointed out. And for me too, it was a lot of the same on offense, especially from the pass game. I know we saw some explosion in the second half last week, but there was nothing there, guys. These receivers can't get open. We had one big play, Max Clare, late in the game that was almost a wash with a 32-yard catch. By and large, this was in a net pass game that had no explosive ability. 93 yards passing, 9-19 for Ryan Brown. And kudos. They did get the ground game going, but there was nothing there as far as passing the football. And if Purdue's going to win games, I think they're going to have to be like we saw last week, 50-49, more so shootouts. But like Brian said, I think Mike pointed out too, that it seems like there's a conscious effort tonight to try to shorten the game with the ground attack. And it may have worked to a degree, but I'm not sure if that would be a successful overall plan moving forward here.
Sometimes football coaches tell you what they won't tell you by how they call a game, how they construct things. And I just feel like they were managing the score as much as they were, trying to score. I don't know what's going on here, but um, trippy, man,
I was trying to figure out the logo thing.
trippy. Oh, okay, I got you. No, I just felt like Purdue was running an offense, as Mike said astutely, shorten the game. But
I mean, you could say they were playing not to lose.
you can shorten the game, but you have to score, and those two things, you generally can't do both of those things. If you could, Iowa would average 40 points a game every year, and historically, Iowa has averaged 4. It's just the diverging philosophies at play here, are irrelevant in light of the fact that your defense can't stop anybody. But all right, I'm going to start wrapping this up here by asking both of you guys one question. It is Purdue's bye week again. Tom, if you were running this program, what would your priority list be for this bye week?
I finally got the layout right.
Oh, I didn't know that was you. I figured it was Alan.
That was me.
I figured it was our quality control.
I'm pushing the buttons. That's the problem. What would be on my to-do list? First of all, I guess trying to figure out what am I going to do at quarterback. Ryan talked in the post game about Hudson Card. He still obviously wasn't cleared to play tonight, but he said he expects him to be ready to go the next time they play. So you're going to have a healthy Hudson Card and obviously a healthy Ryan Brown. How are you going to handle that spot? You're going to go back to Hudson Card? You're going to play them both? You're going to stick with Ryan Brown? I'd be kind of interested to see what you guys think maybe they should do. I'm really not sure what I would do at that position moving forward. So I think that's one thing you got to get figured out for sure. Is there anything else I can do on defense to tighten up that unit? You guys talked about the general ineptness of this defense all season. A defense that could historically go down as the worst in school history when it comes to a points allowed per game statistic. Is there any other tweaks you can possibly do? I don't know. I don't know if there really is. And then maybe that's why they're trying to shorten the game offensively to keep that defense off the field. So those would probably be my two things, my two big things. And then is there anything else I can do to enhance this passing game? I don't know. They're going to get C.J. Smith back too. Ryan said after the game, he dressed tonight, didn't play. Ryan said in the postgame, C.J. Smith will play the next game. Hallelujah. The long vigil is over. He's going to finally suit up and actually play in a game. And he seemed excited about it. So maybe adding C.J. Smith to the mix with his Olympic caliber speed will give some more explosive ability here. So I guess those are some things that I would look at.
This C.J. Smith fellow better be Kelvin Johnson. I mean, for all we've talked about him, and when we're talking about that as Purdue's best hope here to reinvigorate the offense, the guy who hasn't played yet. It kind of tells you where Purdue is. Mike, all those years you spent watching the Dick Duran Bears, what pieces of football wisdom have you picked up that you would apply if you were running Purdue's football program here in the next week?
The one thing I would do is I would get Ryan Walters back on the defensive side. Just turn the offense over to Simmons. Let him develop a passing game. Let him try to spark this offense in a different way. Ryan Walters' strength allegedly is defense. It's not showing up on the field. So why are you abandoning the defense so you can call the offense? Mm-hmm. Just leave that alone. Okay, you've had 2 games to do it. You knew Illinois, so they had some success doing that because he knew the personnel. I mean, he didn't know Oregon's personnel, and Oregon's personnel right now looks a lot better than Illinois' personnel, and those 2 teams play next week. But I would just say, I would tell Ryan, go do defense. That's what you do. That's your strength. That's what you know. Try to. I don't know if they can fix the defense, but at least maybe try to do some things to slow down some other teams. And again, give Simmons just free reign to do whatever he needs to do on offense, whether it's switching in personnel or coming up with something else. You're going to integrate CJ Smith into this thing. And I agree with everybody. We haven't seen him play. So, he can't be the savior. But he's got to get open like everybody else has to get open. But that's the main thing I would do. You're not gonna put in any new plays. You can preach a new attitude. You can do a lot of different things, but I don't know what would work from that standpoint. I would just, let's cut out the experiment. It was enjoyable, but let's move on and get to where people are doing their strengths and not trying to do 10 different jobs. And let's, try to get something done in November to have something out of this season.
Yeah, it's one of the stranger stories when you hear that the head coach has just decided in season to go from being the defensive coordinator to calling the offensive plays as soon as he learned what they called the plays, as soon as he learned the vocabulary. Like that's bizarre. I mean, that's not, and I'm not saying it wasn't the right choice, because for 30 minutes at Illinois, you looked like a competitive football team, and that worked on that afternoon, but it's just a very, very uncommon thing. Obviously, if it were me during the bye week, I get paid by the word, so I feel obligated to speak here. I would throw the kitchen sink at Northwestern, because this is your silver bullet here, guys. This is the one game on your schedule, and coaches can't think this way, but they got to know deep down somewhere that this Northwestern team coming to Purdue, this isn't Ohio State, this isn't Penn State, this isn't a road trip to Michigan State, this isn't Indiana wanting blood when they're red hot right now. This is your game here, guys. Pull out all the stops, put in some different stuff they haven't seen. You got to get the passing game going. If that means getting Hudson Card in there somehow, I take a lot of crap from people for writing positive to neutral things about Hudson Card, but he can make throws. And I think if you want to be a passing offense, Hudson Card has to be a part of it. If you want to be a running offense, Ryan Brown has to be part of it. But why can't you run the stuff you run for Ryan Brown with Hudson Card? And I'm not just talking about the design quarterback runs. I'm talking about all the east-west stuff that eases pressure. And Hudson Card's problem has been he drops back and he got people laying on him in 5 seconds. And if you run some of that stuff that eases some of the pass rush, maybe that would help him. I don't know. I don't know if Hudson Card's making the right decisions. I don't know if he's doing something wrong. I don't know what his deal is, but I just think his arm talent is just something that when you can't score, you got to figure out a way to use that. But that's just me. So, anybody else have anything they want to add here? I was told to keep this short, and by our standards, this is short.
Right, but I just said what you brought up, because you're saying, well, do they want to be a passing team with Hudson Card? They want to be a running team with Ryan Brown. Do we know exactly what they want to be?
No.
On offense? And that's the problem. I mean, pick a lane and go. I mean, you're halfway through the season. You're more than halfway through the season, and you're still trying to figure out who you are.
Yeah.
I've had some injuries, but just pick it up, and just pick a lane and do it, because and just cut out the head coach calling the offensive plays. Just turn it over to Simmons, have him pick a lane, and go forward. And if you want to throw the kitchen sink at Northwestern, you do it, but you do it under one man's umbrella there that has a better idea the depth of the playbook and what you can do. And to me, that's the problem. They haven't picked who they want to be.
Yes.
And I know they had a coordinator change, earlier in the year, and maybe that disrupted it a little bit. But come on, pick, just say who you want to be and go do it.
I think Mike's part too about there's an SOS out for this defense. It's basically sunk or almost sunk, and that's where Ryan Walters can use his resources as a defensive coach. I think Mike makes a great point. That's where his focus should be at this point. I think Jason can handle the offense. This defense is an abomination. It needs Ryan Walters' attention. It needs his expertise, I think.
This is why he was hired.
It needs Lawrence Taylor is what it needs.
Defense.
Yeah, sure.
Um,
Joe Cannon.
Yeah, no, I just think you're in offensive existential crisis right now from an identity perspective, and it's the middle of the season. It's obviously it's not ideal, and we are in old man yelling at clouds. Someone should do something about all the problems mode here. So I can't believe people are watching this if they are watching this.
You got
So all right,
55 people watching right now.
5.
55 people.
God bless you guys.
God bless. Thank you.
So all right, so we're gonna wrap this up. Following Purdue's 35-0 loss to second-ranked Oregon. This is Brian Newbert, Mike Carmen, and Tom Deanhart from goldenblack.com with our goldenblack.com Saturday?
Yeah,
Yes.
Saturday.
Saturday simulcast. Thank you to the Purdue Club Hotel for your help your support as always. We appreciate it very much. If you're watching this on YouTube, like, subscribe, leave a productive comment. If you're listening to this on your favorite podcast platform, 5-star review, positive comment, preferably. If you have nothing positive to say, you can take that somewhere else. So thanks, everybody, for watching. Thanks for listening. And Tom and Mike, thank you for your time. And we'll talk to you guys again. And we'll do one of these for the bye week, won't we?
We could do one every day if you want, noobs.
Let's do that.
I would like to do one every day.
Let's just wake up in the morning, hit the live stream, and just start.
I'm just going to keep the live stream going.
Start talking about our day. So, all right, everybody. Thank you.